let's look at some basic terms in the food and beverage world, the food and beverage industry. So the first one is the NRA. When we talk about NRA with food and beverage, we are talking about the National Restaurant Association. For average guest check, this is how much if you were to take each guest server served, or each guest within the entire restaurant and divided by total sales, you're going to get your PPP, price per person, or your average guest check. So if a particular server sold $1,000 to 100 guests, you would take that $1,000 divided by your 100 guests, and you're going to get your average guest check to look at how much each guest individually typically spends per shift, per server. You might also divide that by the entire shift, take all the sales and the total count of guests that stayed or dined in your facility. Suggestive selling. This is when you recommend something that maybe the person wouldn't have ordered in the first place. So for example, people come in, they sit down and they say, "Can I get you a beer or wine to start your evening with?" That is suggestive selling. If they order their food and say, "Well, can I start you with an appetizer? Our famous tableside guacamole is a top seller. Would you like to order some today?" That is suggestive selling. Upselling is very similar. However, it's something that the guest was already going to order. However, now they're going to order a more expensive option. So if you were to say, "Oh, you do want the tableside guacamole? Wonderful. For an extra $1, would you like to add cotija cheese on top?" Or, "You know what? I'm going to get a rum and coke. Well, would you like to order one of our premium rums inside that rum and coke?" That is upselling. So suggestive selling is selling something they wouldn't have necessarily ordered on their own. Upselling is taking something they're already ordering and adding extra cost to it. Adding a meat to a pasta dish, upselling the kind of liquor that they're ordering or the kind of beer or wine, selling things that are in addition to what they're already buying. Par is the level of an inventory you need on hand. So if we need a par of 100 fillets of fish for a dinner service, then we're going to want to make sure that's served. Par can also be for the inventory itself. We want to make sure we never run below 3 jars of, huge jars of ranch salad dressing. So whenever we get down to 2, then we automatically know that we need to order that in our inventory, because our par level determines what level of inventory we need at any given time to make sure we run our operations efficiently. FIFO, or FIFO, depending on how you want to pronounce it, is first in, first out. That means that whatever product went in first needs to be served first. So if I ordered inventory of those 3 large jars of ranch, the jars of ranch that came before the new ones should be served before I serve any of the new product. 86 is a common term to say that we've run out of something. So in the middle of a shift, you might tell your servers, "Hey, we're 86th on ranch dressing. We ran out." So if a guest orders salad, tell them they can have ranch and suggest one of these instead. 86 can be for any product that you have within the facility. Dram shop laws. These are the laws that are put into place to help hold accountability for those who serve alcohol. So if you serve a person alcohol and then they, even though you're the third party, they go and commit some sort of crime, say drunk driving or hurting someone, you are actually liable for serving that person alcohol to the point of intoxication, and so you could be liable for damage. These are the dram shop laws. To help with dram shop laws, there are things that people can do to safeguard themselves when serving alcohol. Offering a taxi ride, making sure they serve only 2 drinks per hour on average, watching for behaviors, cutting people off, offering incentives to not drive home. These are ways you can help with dram shop laws. The other way to help with that, especially from an established standpoint, and put this a little bit more on the specific server, is you have things like ServSafe and ABC. So ServSafe is a way of designating or teaching someone how to safely serve someone, teaching them about dram shop laws, teaching them about alcohol content, teaching them about how the body reacts to the amount of alcohol that is in your system. So it's very important that all your servers are certified in something like ServSafe, which is just one certification system. And these are all based on ABC, or the Alcoholic Beverage Commission, for each individual state. This is, of course, US-based laws. So in Tennessee, it might be the Tennessee Alcohol Beverage Commission. If it's Texas, it's also TABC, Texas Alcohol Beverage Commission. So a lot of them work in tandem with companies like ServSafe to make sure that everyone is educated and knowing how to have a safer, basically community for everyone else. Fixed costs and variable costs, this is where we start getting into profit margins, understanding that there are a lot of high and fixed costs for this industry, meaning that regardless of how many guests walk in the door, this is how much it costs to serve someone. Insurance, building costs, inventory, all that kind of stuff is considered fixed and variable cost. Fixed cost is something that is static, consistent, and never changes. Your management salaries, the building, the insurance, the rent, all of that. Variable costs are the things that are going to vary based on who walks in the door. So your food and inventory is a variable cost, your labor can be a variable cost, and you'll notice that what we try to do in the industry is cut down on those variable costs because there's not a lot you can do to fix or change fixed costs. So these are just some of the basic terms that you should know when you're talking about food and beverage.